Hi, everyone. We'll just wait a couple of moments for everyone to join, and then we'll get started. We'll just take another moment or so for everyone to get in, and then we'll get started. Thank you for joining everyone today. I'm Nick Gorinsky from the Foursquare marketing team, and I'm pleased to be joined by Foursquare Business Development Director, Will Byrne, and Amazon Ads Senior Go-To-Market Specialist, Paige Lewis, who will both share everything you need to know about how to prepare and ultimately run effective TV campaigns this year. If you have any questions throughout the duration of our webinar, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll try to address as many questions at the end of the presentation. For now, take it away, Will and Paige.
Thanks, Nick, and thank you all of you for taking the time out of your busy days to join us today to have an engaging discussion about the television upfronts and new fronts this year. As Nick mentioned, I'm Will Byrne. I'm on the business development team at Foursquare. I work across our television partnerships and several other marketing channels to help enable partners like Amazon Ads to utilize Foursquare's marketing products. I've been in the television industry for over 10 years now, kind of on all parts, on the media buying side, on the measurement side, on the data side. And throughout my entire career, I've really been focused on bringing data and accountability to television, which is the biggest media channel in the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Foursquare and then kick it over to Paige, who will give an overview of Amazon. So when it comes to Foursquare, a lot of you may know us as the early days as a check-in app, but today we are the leading geospatial technology platform, providing data and geospatial applications to better understand the world around you. Our background in consumer apps has given the company a deep understanding of movement and places, using technology to understand where things are and how people move throughout the world. Our tech stack helps businesses use location to make more informed decisions and ultimately drive success. While we will focus on our marketing use cases today, Foursquare also has an enterprise side of our business, which we help businesses with site selection, POI, decision-making, data enrichment or transaction cleansing, navigation, and app functionality for location needs. Our goal is to enable our enterprise customers to improve their customer or user experience. In fact, we have a partnership with Amazon SageMaker, which is Amazon's machine learning service, where Amazon has integrated our geospatial platform, Foursquare Studio, into their SageMaker UI. Today, we will focus on our marketing capabilities, specifically to empower all of you to be more confident going into your upfront and new front conversations. For marketing use cases, we leverage our proprietary location technology to help advertising partners, media agencies, and brands better understand and execute their omni-channel media campaigns using real-world behavioral insights. Foursquare enables omni-channel media remarketing using our location platform via audience and proximity products. For measurement, Foursquare's attribution UI allows our partners, brands, and agencies to measure their campaigns using footfall metrics, which we'll focus on today throughout our presentation. The goal of Foursquare is to help our agency and partner clients create the flywheel to enable better audience activation and measurement. So now I'd like to kick it over to Paige. Paige, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Will. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here as well. I've been in the industry for over 10 years, so keep losing track of time, in a variety of roles, leading enterprise DSP relationships and a lot of focus on measurement strategy. Currently, I lead our go-to-market strategy at Amazon Ads across our broad set of measurement products and third-party partnerships, including Foursquare. And my goal is to really ensure we have the right measurement products available to our customers with the signals that they can use to plan, buy, and optimize to achieve their marketing objectives. And ultimately, business outcomes across all of our ad products, including streaming TV, which we'll focus on in great detail today. Amazon Ads as a whole offers a suite of solutions for businesses of all sizes with omni-channel ad products, robust first-party audiences, and measurement solutions to help you grow your business both on and off Amazon. Our goal is to help you reach customers where they are while they shop, and our offerings help you achieve your advertising goals while helping to bring a global audience of customers the products they're looking for. A little bit more specifically, Amazon streaming TV ads sits at the cross section of content and commerce. So our growth specifically is outpacing that of the industry overall, and our solutions address your need to have one place to go to reach all audiences at scale and again, drive those real world business outcomes. Will, I'll pass it back over to you and we'll hop into the agenda.
Great, thanks, Paige. Really excited to dive into these topics with you today. So what we'll be talking about is how to maximize and improve the effectiveness of your TV advertising in 2023, some common misconceptions that exist around streaming TV, how to make the most of your campaigns across Amazon's ads, streaming TV properties, and finally, we'll wrap up with how Foursquare and Amazon Ads measure successful TV campaigns together. And as Nick mentioned at the beginning, we'll be fielding questions at the end, so please share your questions in the chat. Cool, so let's get started talking about how to measure the effectiveness of your TV advertising this year. So it's everyone's favorite time of year. It's upfront and NewFront season. I remember as a young planner in my days living in New York, the upfronts were really about the parties. But today we're really going to focus on the real use case of the upfronts, and that's helping everyone make smarter media decisions with their media dollars. So when thinking about the upfronts and NewFronts this year, this is the first time going into these discussions where streaming TV viewership has surpassed broadcast and cable viewership, which happened last summer. Along with that, consumers have an endless choice of a la carte options in addition to the traditional cable bundle. I know me specifically, I have a cable box in my TV, I have a smart TV, I have Amazon Prime, I utilize a lot of different services to get the content that I desire. But when thinking about the upfronts, I really think there's three things that everyone should be focused on. The first one is, what is your cross-screen strategy? As I just mentioned, we all know it's very difficult to find the consumer where they're watching. And so you need to think about your TV campaign when it comes to various media channels. Think about how you're activating on streaming. How does that complement what you're doing with linear? Are you running addressable television campaigns? So really thinking about how all of those different media channels work together to better enable more successful campaigns. And then the second thing to focus on is activation. How are you going to be active? How are you going to activate your television campaigns? Are you going publisher direct, whether that's through an Amazon with a streaming TV campaign? Are you activating programmatically? So really thinking about the different activation strategies, what audiences are you using across different channels? So really thinking about how to do that most effectively. And finally, which will be the main focus for our presentation today, is measurement. There are a lot of different companies out there focusing on various measurement use cases. The recent formation of the Joint Industry Committee is focused on bringing cross-screen measurement to the television world. But when you think about measurement, you should really find a partner that can measure all of your campaigns with one consistent, unified view, whether that's a measurement partner or working with someone like Amazon Ads, who will enable you to work with Foursquare to better measure your campaigns, because you want to move beyond just impressions, reach, and frequency as KPIs. You want to be focusing on business outcomes. You want to see what your TV media is actually doing for you when it comes to business outcomes. And if you can think about just allocating a small percentage of your media budget to measurement use cases, you'll really be able to get all the answers that you desire. Paige, what are you thinking about this year?
Yeah, I think it's very similar along the lines of what you talked about. You talked at the beginning about just having this cross media reach and being able to sort of plan and allocate across all the video offering or all the video publishers that you may want to buy from. For us, it's really all about planning to drive broad and incremental reach across your total buy. So we recommend the use of planning tools to plan streaming TV around your linear TV schedule, be able to reach audiences where they are, where they're consuming content. As you mentioned, Will, everyone's consuming in different ways. It's not just through a cable subscription anymore. It's multiple apps. Somehow, I think everything costs just as much as cable used to. So, the customers are just, viewers are viewing in a lot of different ways. So we're looking to optimize across both third-party and first-party audiences, taking into consideration any sort of frequency, budget, and reach goals you may have. Secondarily, I mentioned audiences. It's really being able to consider expanding audiences beyond maybe the traditional demo and day part or program audiences that are available or traditionally bought through linear TV, and then reach those audiences where they are. Traditionally, media has been bought based on a broad audience. This really shouldn't change. We do recommend creating a pretty broad strategy, but you can get more specific and test new strategies to drive increased effectiveness. This could include audiences that are focused on different genres, viewing behaviors, lifestyle, or in-market audiences to really maximize your reach and differentiate your streaming TV plan. I also recommend pairing demo audiences with lifestyle, testing a few different options and combinations. Again, ensuring that you still have a pretty broad audience that you're targeting or that you're reaching, but being able to drive not only reach, but also consideration, as Will mentioned. Creative is a third pillar, I would say. So creative is really critical to success when we think about streaming TV, ensuring you have engaging, high impact and engaging creative for your TV advertising. We recommend testing interactive video ads, an offering that we have, which transforms streaming TV ads from a passive viewing experience to one that drives customer engagement with your ad. So with the click of a button, which in this case is of course your remote, or a scan of a QR code, you can, or use of voice, customers can add your products to their cart and request an email with more information. So it's really interactive. It's about driving outcomes beyond just reaching a broad audience. Streaming TV and TV in general allows you to drive that broad reach, but again, also outcomes. And lastly, this leads me to measurement, which is near and dear to my heart. Being able to choose publishers and providers that offer measurement beyond that traditional reach and frequency to understand how your campaign's driving business outcomes. So companies like Foursquare that show in-store visits, footfall traffic, also being able to track online visits and ultimately play how streaming TV is playing a role in driving the product off the shelf.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think TLDR with this year's upfronts is less focus on CPM negotiation and more focus on technology and accountability when it comes to your campaigns.
Yeah.
Cool. So now let's kind of focus our shift over to some common misconceptions about streaming TV. The biggest one, Paige, for me, is the quality of inventory. I think there is this notion that if you're running on streaming TV, it's kind of remnant and linear is more premium. However, that is most definitely not the case. All premium content today is available on streaming TV, whether that's a very popular television show, a movie, all available on streaming TV services like Amazon Prime. But also, as we all know, live sports are really the bread and butter when it comes to the big screen these days. And with the NFL and Amazon Ads partnership for Thursday Night Football, in addition to that, all NFL games are available on streaming. All NBA games are available streaming. NHL, Major League Baseball, and soccer games. The World Cup this year, for example, was available on streaming properties. So it's really not a remnant inventory source. This is real premium inventory available to you all to activate on streaming inventory. Paige, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that I'd like to offer a build on that. So I would agree with everything you said. Streaming TV is really the same quality as linear TV, as you mentioned. We are at Amazon very focused on creating unique content, high quality content across Freevee, our Freevee offering, as well as you mentioned, Thursday Night Football, having premium sports and entertainment content across the board. But that can also lead to another misconception that I hear often, which is that streaming TV is too expensive. So while CPMs may be higher than other forms of video, like your traditional online video or sponsored video as examples, it really does behave a lot more, closely to linear TV with that added layer of audience, additional audience options as well as content control. And it tends to have really high effectiveness for that reason. Again, I talked about how much incremental audience you are able to reach with streaming TV, so not including it simply because it may come at a perceived high price point is not really what we want to focus on. We want to focus on how that plays into the majority, the holistic media plan that you may have. So as you mentioned, Will, when we think about new fronts and upfront negotiations, it's a lot about locking in that premium content so that you have that throughout the year.
Yeah,
I know measurability. I was going to say measurability is key to both of our roles, but I'd love to pass it to you to kind of talk about that misconception as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. But we can talk about the premium quality of the inventory, the reach it drives. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to measure it, what's the point, right? And so when it was hammered into my head very early in my career, that outcome-based measurement is at that time feature, and now it's definitely the current state of television. So all TV inventory can be measured, especially streaming television. You can activate across your Amazon DSP, you can activate directly with Amazon, and you can measure all of that as well through partnerships like Foursquare. So not only are you able to activate across premium inventory, you're able to measure it, beyond just reach, frequency, and impressions. And so it's really important that people and all of you understand that streaming TV is very measurable, and you can actually optimize off of it as well. Paige, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely feel the same way. And outside of targeting, being able to reach audiences and also being able to sort of have that incremental reach overall, I think the measurability of streaming TV is super unique. It's not only for just reaching a broad audience, but it's really about driving that consideration and conversion. Video ads are typically seen as a solution that can help you achieve your upper and mid funnel objectives. And while those are typically our primary objectives, we also, with partnerships like Foursquare, are able to measure all the way from viewership to door swings. So we talk a lot about that, that connection to, again, getting someone to actually visit if you have a store, visit that location, visit your online shop, buy through Amazon, things like that. So really being able to achieve those full funnel objectives, including driving that in conversion. And that kind of leads me pretty well into how to make the most of your campaigns across Amazon ad streaming TV properties and kind of what the core benefit that we offer is. So from an Amazon streaming TV benefit, it's really about driving awareness, engaging audiences on that largest screen in the household with our streaming TV ads. These are 15 and 30-second videos that show up in long-form streaming content like TV shows and movies. We talked a lot about already premium content that we offer. And then this is across Amazon's first-party inventory and premium third-party publisher apps. And so to take best advantage of this benefit, as we think about heading into next week for new fronts and upfronts that are coming in general, and those presentations that will be coming next week, we really recommend locking in inventory by participating in new fronts. So while streaming TV content is this premium offering, it does come at a we want to make sure that you have that available to you and you're getting the best price on it. So being able to take advantage of those upfront discounts versus later in the year, maybe only having scatter pricing available, as well as the unique beta opportunities that we tend to offer within the upfronts and new fronts. And then we do have some additional sponsorships that are offered, as well as added value opportunities. So I think, getting in early and really, locking in that inventory before things get super busy in Q4 is really critical. So that's advice number one. And then when it comes to setting up streaming TV with Amazon ads to maximize, improve effectiveness of your holistic TV advertising, the first is, you being able to plan again for that incremental reach. So In general, Amazon streaming TV ads and Twitch have an unduplicated US monthly reach of over 135 million viewers. So that really is that extension from linear that we talked about quite a bit in the previous sections. Being able to use our channel planner tool, this can help you allocate across publishers and formats, keeping in mind your linear schedule. That can help you plan most efficiently across your total TV budget. Second pillar, just on when it comes to setting up, taking advantage again of our exclusive premium content. So your brand can show up in an expansive collection of premium TV shows and movies, as well as exclusive content across a variety of services that streamers love. So I always like to talk about how in the last year, growth of our Amazon Freeview originals has increased by 118%. That outpaces the 23% year-over-year growth that ComScore reports in total hours viewed on streaming TV from 2021 to 2022. So we really are outpacing when it comes to the content that we do offer. The third pillar here is, I've talked a bit about audiences previously as well, but you have the opportunity to build audiences in Amazon Marketing Cloud using a combination of our first-party audiences that are available and third-party audiences, such as those available from Foursquare. We do have an API audience integration, so it makes it really easy to integrate multiple strategies within your plan. And then lastly, we always round out with measurement, so we think, plan, buy, measure. We offer a pretty comprehensive set of solutions when it comes to measurement across our first-party measurement metrics, as well as solutions and third-party partnerships that we offer. So we recommend you run location visitation studies with Foursquare to really close that loop beyond reach, offering that outcome-based measurement.
Wow, Amazon ads really setting the standard for the industry, not only when it comes to content, but activation and measurement. It's amazing to hear. Those growth numbers are pretty phenomenal. So congratulations to the team.
Thanks.
So now let's talk about how we work together. So in order to do this, I really want to set the stage here to talk about Foursquare attribution and kind of why it is the leading footfall measurement platform available. So when it comes to our Foursquare attribution for television, we can measure all television channels. We can measure linear television through various partnerships on exposure file and post-log side. We can measure addressable television through partnerships that allow us to match, those IDs to our identity graph. And then we can also measure streaming television via our different integrations that we have. We have a server-to-server integration in place with Amazon, for example. So not only can we capture all of those omnichannel media exposures, we can then measure them to our location-based outcome data set. The biggest thing that sets us apart in this world is our ability to match, where people are to the actual location they are. And we're able to do this through our proprietary POI, or places of interest data set. This is our map of the world. We have over 100 million POIs available to match. So we're not just, drawing polygons or looking at GPS signals when we're, identifying, where someone is. We are looking at, where they are in correlation to a map on the world. So we can, be extremely accurate with how we do that. And this is all done in a very privacy safe manner. All of our data sets are double opt-in. So we do this through our Pilgrim SDK partnerships with applications that have an end use case, location use case between the user and the application. And when I say double opt-in, I mean the user is notified twice on their iPhone or Android device to confirm that they are willing to share their location with the application. So not only are we able to capture everything, we're able to map those to footfall outcomes based off of our POI data set and our actual attribution panel. So that's kind of setting the stage for Foursquare attribution. But actually in the UI, it's a self-serve UI available to all of our customers. There's really some really great cuts of data that is available for you all to drive insights from. Paige mentioned audiences. We're able to ingest first-party audiences like Amazon Shopper audiences via API integrations, and then we're also able to utilize Foursquare, location-based segments as well. You can look at how all of these audiences are performing within the UI, and then you can also not only look at the audiences, but you can look at the creative. Paige talked about the different creative capabilities available on Amazon. You can actually see how those creatives are performing for you in relation to footfall-based outcomes. So we can do audiences, we can do creative, we can also do inventory types. So you're running across a DSP, online video, streaming, etc. That's all available to look at how those different channels are performing within the attribution UI. And finally, you can look at specific markets. I know, everyone kind of should have a different strategy in different markets in the US. And so you're able to look at how those different DMAs are performing for you when it comes to your streaming television campaigns. One of the great insights as well is competitive. So, if you're a QSR brand, which we'll talk about, and you're looking at how, your exposed viewers are visiting your location, you can also look at how they're visiting a competitor's location. You can look at, are people that are visiting, are they frequent visitors? Are they never been there before? And all of this is doable because we have our always on real world behavioral data set. So we can actually see the change in behavior if after someone being exposed to a campaign. So that's an overview of Foursquare attribution. We're definitely happy to continue to talk about this, but Paige, let's kind of talk about a real world example that we have run together between Foursquare and Amazon Ads.
Yeah, I think to make this all come together, it's always nice to have an example, kind of a case of how we've used this in action, just to make it a bit more digestible. So at Amazon Ads, as most of you probably know, we work with advertisers that have products sold on Amazon, but also work with many brands and categories that are not sold on Amazon, like car dealerships, insurance companies, universities, and restaurants. So in this example, we wanted to walk through, we worked with a quick service restaurant in the US, a QSR, and who reached out to us because they wanted to use streaming TV to introduce a broad audience to their new menu offering. This QSR deemed the campaign successful, so their core KPI was that this ad spot was delivered to a large number of unique viewers, and also if a percentage of the people that saw the ad would then go and visit the restaurant within a specified number of days. So they were looking for, again, that broad reach that we've talked about pretty extensively in this webinar, and then also being able to drive that outcome in store. To execute, the QSR ran a 60-day streaming TV campaign with us. They used a combination of Amazon first-party audiences, of grocery shoppers, foodies, and also a demo of 18 to 64 in the US. And then in addition, they layered in Foursquare audiences of people who visited their restaurant at least one time year to date, so this year, and also people that visited any QSR restaurant at least one time in the last 12 months. So again, focused on, creating a defined audience, but also keeping it very broad in reach to ensure the campaign could deliver to the core audience they were looking to reach. After the campaign, they were, really happy with the results, with the total and unique reach of their audience, and they were, we offer the ability for them to break out those results by DMA of the viewership as well. So being able to kind of look at location, where we had the most impact. And thanks to our partnership with Foursquare, they were also able to share the QSR, their incremental store visits as a result of the streaming TV campaign. So in combination with a lot of our reach metrics and unique reach of the audience, we were also able to, again, as we've talked about pretty extensively, compare that or bring that down to the level of what outcomes we drove, which in this case were those incremental store visits. Will, I'd love if you could share a little bit more about how Foursquare was able to provide both the audience segments as well as how your tech measures those visit outcomes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, most definitely. And we want to make sure that all of you are educated and empowered to reach out to Amazon and Foursquare to drive campaigns like this one. So when it comes to the audience side, Foursquare has our standard taxonomy available. So that's kind of standard audiences, people who visit QSRs, people who visit home improvement stores, kind of like more broad segments available for activation. We also have yet another UI where you can build these custom audiences. So maybe someone who didn't visit your restaurant in the past 60 days but had visited previously. You want to layer on specific demographic information on top of those location or real world behaviors. So we have a UI. We have a full targeting team that can help work with you to build segments to best optimize your television campaigns. When it comes to measurability, Paige really harped on incrementality, which is super important. Maybe someone who visited this QSR, they go every week, and then after being exposed to an ad, they start going 2 or 3 times a week because they really want that specific sandwich or coffee. So that measurability is what we define as our behavioral lift metric because we have this always on data set. We can see if someone did actually change their behavior after being exposed to a campaign. So that incrementality behavioral lift metric is super important. And that's what everyone kind of comes to Foursquare for. That's how we work together to help prove the value of this Amazon Ads inventory. Cool. So, just to give a quick summary of what we talked about, we both gave an overview of our ourselves, our companies, how we work together, and really want you all to feel like you're empowered now to work with your various partners and agencies to really move beyond, a CPM negotiation with this year's upfronts and new fronts, and really focus more on cross-screen, activation and measurability, because this is the way the industry is going, and this is how we should all be thinking about our streaming television campaigns. Cool. So I think we're kind of at time for the presentation, but we definitely saved some room for some questions, and thank all of you for submitting questions throughout the presentation. If we don't get to your questions, we'll definitely follow up with you all. So Nick, if you want to kind of get us going, we're happy to answer your submitted questions.
Yes, absolutely. Looks like we have some questions coming in now. The first for Will, can you tell us more about the different types of TV inventory you can measure?
Yeah, most definitely. So we focused on streaming television today, which we can measure. We utilize our Foursquare Pixel, or we can ingest exposure files via an S3 integration, a server-to-server integration, or we can work with a clean room in a very privacy-safe way to ingest those exposure files for streaming television. When it comes to linear television, we utilize smart TV data to track exposures on the TV, and then we can match those via our internal identity graph to our real-world behavioral data set. And for addressable television, it's that exposure file use case as well. So addressable TV, we can ingest MVPD exposure files with various IDs, and we have various partnerships from identity partners, which we're able to then match those to our location-based data set. So when it comes to your television campaigns, we can measure any and all inventory that you're running across.
Great. Paige, the next question's for you. How does your offering differ from other inventory owners in the space?
That's a good question. I know we talked a lot about premium content in the presentation. I think what makes us different is our owned and operated streaming TV inventory. It's proprietary and not available through other DSPs, so only accessible through Amazon. We also have relationships with premium streaming TV publishers, as we own the device to the Fire TV that gives us direct access to that inventory using our billions of first-party data signals. So that in combination with our premium owned and operated streaming TV inventory is kind of what makes us unique from an inventory standpoint in the space.
Great. Here's a great question coming in for the both of you. How are you both thinking about privacy in today's landscape?
Yeah, most definitely. There's been a lot of new laws that have been passed at the state level this year when it comes to privacy and ad tech. And so Foursquare, we are a privacy first company. It's one of our leadership principles. We have a full team. We have a head of privacy. We have several lawyers who are devoted to privacy. We kind of have feet on the ground in Washington, D.C. as well. And so we really want to set the example and be proactive when it comes to privacy and advertising. We want to hold everyone accountable. We want to make sure that we have the end consumer in mind because that's really who matters here. And so you can see our privacy policies are available on our website, location.foursquare.com. And from there, you're able to see how we're CCPA compliant and how we think about privacy and our overall privacy first stance as a company.
Yeah, and from an Amazon ads perspective, we're also very privacy first. Our number one principle is really about customer obsession. So we're not going to compromise or take any risk with customer or partner signals. That's why we're investing in both clean rooms in our Amazon Marketing Cloud solution, as well as ensuring any integration we have is privacy safe.
Great. Paige, the next question's for you. Are there budget minimums to run streaming TV campaigns?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's a little bit nuanced. For our self-service offering, there are no budget minimums. So, open for anyone to run any level of budget across our streaming TV inventory. For our managed service business or IO-based business, we do have a $35,000 minimum that is in place for that piece of the business. So there's a couple different ways you can purchase or buy streaming TV campaigns with us, and those are the differences as far as minimums go.
Great. The next question is for both of you to answer. We'll start with Will. Are you able to remarket a person that saw a STV ad, visited a brick and mortar store, but did not purchase?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So when I break this down, it really comes into two parts. There's a visitation piece and the purchase piece. And so via our partnership with Amazon, we're able to do this. So Foursquare supplies the visitation piece. As I mentioned, we have an always-on real-world behavioral data set, so we can see if there's various visitation to locations, and so we can actually supply that side of this equation.
Yep, and from our perspective, we look to layer in those custom remarketing segments. And as Will mentioned with Foursquare, we have the ability to look at those that have visited a location, so people that visit a location, and we can layer in purchase audiences from our first party audiences as well as other third party sources. So we really have a combination of ways that we can remarket a person that visited but did not purchase.
Great. Another question for both of you. We can start with Paige for this one. Can you create an audience of shoppers that visited a location more than 90 days ago and use that in an STV campaign on Amazon Ads?
That's a good question. We can adjust audiences through the DSP and then again layer that into a remarketing strategy. And we can adjust or gather those audiences via the audience API integration that we have with Foursquare to make this easier. I do want to clarify that for this type of strategy, we can do this, but it's not part of new fronts as those are very specific to guaranteed buys. So just in light of this conversation, I wanted to highlight that nuance, but there is that ability to create that remarketing strategy.
Yeah, and again, we can definitely work collaboratively with partners like Amazon Ads to supply the real-world behavioral side of this equation. We have the API integration with Amazon Ads, for example. Our audiences are available across the industry, so yeah, most definitely can fulfill this need.
Great. And another question for Paige. Are there any risks to delivery with new fronts? What happens if inventory gets tight, or are new fronts prioritized in the DSP?
Yeah, that's a great question. So inventory is guaranteed as part of our upfront agreements with agencies and brands direct, purchased either based on Amazon audiences or Nielsen DAR. So that's why I think I mentioned a little bit earlier on that it's really important to prioritize new fronts to really get ahead of reserving inventory. As we all know, it becomes a lot more scarce when we hit the Q4 timeframe, and there's a lot of rush around wanting to secure inventory. So this sort of goes back to that planning element of a best practice of how you can take advantage of Amazon Ads streaming TV inventory to set yourself up for success when it comes to your streaming TV buying and holistic planning for TV.
Great. Thank you both. I'd like to thank Will and Paige for taking time today to share with us how to run effective TV campaigns this year and prepare for those upcoming upfronts and new fronts. If you'd like to learn more about Foursquare, you can reach out to us at hello@foursquare.com or visit our website, location.foursquare.com. I dropped a link in the chat for to run streaming TV and other campaigns with Amazon Ads. So click that and a representative will get in touch with you and help you get set up. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you to our audience, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.